All right, hello everyone. This is Crota coming at you. Today is 3 days before Black Friday. As we now get started, WarchiefRich spawning as the green Night Elf player on the top left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, we have Juan or Pwn Yu Juan spawning as the yellow undead. First thing I want to say is yes, replays are drying up. And that means that I cannot be picky or choosy about the number of replays that I get. First things first, also as well, these games did come highly recommended, so they should be pretty exciting. But on top of that, I normally like to cast best of 3 series and try to cast 3 games. Based upon the length of these games, as I'm sure some of you guys can tell is rather long, I won't be able to cast an additional spoiler game. But, well, with all that said, maybe I am just completely throwing you for a 180, throwing you for a loop, and I'm going to be casting maybe a 3rd game tomorrow. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive right into this game here on Echo Isle. We can see that the Ziggurat is coming into play off over here. The Altar of Darkness is a bit delayed. Meanwhile, back over here, we are having a Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter versus most likely a Death Knight in this Echo Isle matchup. And I am looking forward to these games. So far, WarchiefRich has not done anything too out of the ordinary. As an observer goes, alright, just trying to be a little bit playful in the first 2 minutes because, well, there's not much you can really figure out about the players and what their overall strategy is going to be. Now, there was a lot of talk about Night Elf against Undead and whether or not you should use Archers or Dryads. Well, Dryads are really the better choice just because of the fact that they are magic immune, making them immune to destroyers, while also having that slow poison, so they're able to run or catch fleeing units really easily. On top of that, they do have abolish magic just in case anything else goes wrong, so there's a lot going for them. The only downside is going to be the fact that Crypt Fiends are generally already in play. So how do you counter those Crypt Fiends? Well, with bears, of course. And then you get into that whole entire bear, Dryad, Crypt Fiend, Destroyer matchup. And whoever executes that strategy better wins. Demon Hunter now making his way down over here, going after this lightly green creep camp. And as this creep camp gets cleared, we're going to see the Death Knight make its move. The Death Knight did sell the Scroll of Town Portal, has picked up a Rod of Necromancy and a Dust of Appearance. So the strategy for the Death Knight will obviously be one of harassment. Now, with that Unholy Aura, he is slightly faster, but he's not going to be able to death coil units, obviously. Not until he reaches level 2. The bonus of Undead is the fact that there is going to be a lot of ghouls back at home. So these ghouls can begin to start creeping while the Death Knight is away. Rod of Necromancy already charges, 2 charges used up. Skeletal minions are here as well. The Death Knight trying to run back as the Demon Hunter already up on level 2-1. As you can see that the Skeletal Minion looks like it could get taken down. That Skeletal Minion has taken a bit of damage already. There it goes, feeding more experience to that Demon Hunter, as the Demon Hunter is pretty much enjoying some free damage onto this Death Knight. I'm not exactly sure what Juan's strategy is. A little bit of denial there, nicely done, as the Demon Hunter chases after a Death Knight with no luck, as the Death Knight is significantly faster. However, we now see an army of ghouls coming out across the map, and are the ghouls perhaps going to try to do some crazy creeping? No, they are not. They are actually going to be going straight for the archers. The archers must smell the ghoul's breath and know that something is awry, as the Death Knight already comes in here. Alright, there is another charge of Rod of Necromancy going to be used. Wait for it. There it is. Extra skeletons now coming in, and what all of these gargoyle or all of these ghouls chasing after all of these archers. Meanwhile, we are going into yes, we are going into gargoyles. A second crypt normally does mean gargoyles, and all that the Death Knight really wants to do is here perhaps get an easy archer kill. It looks like the archer will get taken down. The Death Knight is on the board with some experience and still chasing after all of these units. Demon Hunter doesn't want to waste a mana burn onto a Death Knight, since the Death Knight is not going to be doing anything with that mana anyways. And with that unholy aura, he does regenerate rather quickly. All right, in comes all of those ghouls. Are we going to see an archer or two taken down? Yes, it looks as though this archer is going to end up getting taken out very, very easily. Down goes another archer there as the Ancient of War is up and about trying to deal some damage. Wisp are coming in here as well. You can see that the Demon Hunter going after those ghouls as the Death Knight is now running back. Taking a look back over here, there is Gargoyle production. Gargoyle is extremely effective on this map because of the trees and the fact that these archers are perhaps not being trained any longer. I cannot imagine that the Night Elf player wants to train archers knowing how easy it is for these ghouls to take them out. The archers have medium armor and only 245 hit points. That means that they are normally easily taken out by spells as well, but because of their magic resistance, they are not taken out by spells, but they are still very vulnerable to that normal attack of ghouls, footmen, huntresses, and grunts. The archers have now made their way over. As we can see, 2 gargoyles are already on their way out. The Death Knight is just buying time to try and mass up a serious number of gargoyles. Are we going to perhaps see another archer taken out? Oh, Staff of Preservation saves one. Are we perhaps going to save another as the Ancient of Lores are now taken out? This is important. Every Ancient of Lore that gets cancelled and needs to be rebuilt is another moment when gargoyles do not have to worry about dryads. Yes, dryads are effective at taking down gargoyles with their piercing armor, but they are also very vulnerable because of their unarmored status as well. Alright, we are going to see a Naga Sea Witch being picked up by the Night Elf player, and this is not your typical strategy, especially if you know that your opponent is going gargoyles. Normally, Breath of Fire is the strategy here, and the Naga Sea Witch quickly brought over to try and minimize the amount of damage that those ghouls can do. Archers now trying to archers now chasing after those gargoyles. 4 gargoyles in play. It looks as though more gargoyles could be coming in play as well, as we need to see an Ancient of Wind, Ancient Protector now being built as well, Ancient of Lore now done, as dryads need to be pumped out rather quickly. Are we going to be seeing those dryads making their way out? Let's take a look. Another wisp taking a lot of damage here. Archers, wisp now pulling back. Still no dryad production for some strange reason, and this has got to be a mistake by WarchiefRich, as he really needs to get some dryads onto the field and perhaps start slowing those gargoyles down. Coming back around, we are going into Tier 3. Death Knight has not yet trained up a second hero. You can see more ghouls now joining in on the fight as we are getting level 1 creature attack, I believe. Level 1 creature attack for those gargoyles, as the Demon Hunter and Death Knight still battling it out. The Death Knight sitting at near maximum mana with nothing to really spend it on. And are we going to perhaps see this one Demon Hunter get surrounded? You can see the cold from that tower there, as the Demon Hunter, does get surrounded finally, burning a scroll of town portal. As all of those gargoyles here, perhaps they will go back into stone form to try and regenerate hit points. Alright, Ancient Protector is in play. We are now finally getting up that Dryad count. A second Ancient of Lore being added, as the Death Knight finally gets to level 2. Will be getting some death coils off onto the field, as the Death Knight is now looking pretty strong at this point. Alright, let's take a look. Naga Sea Witch and Demon Hunter now just wandering across the map here. Is the Gargoyles going to find some easy units? Yes, another Wisp taken out there. So the Gargoyles are pretty much having a free run all across the map. And the only time that this would be better, or would this Gargoyle strategy be better against a Night Elf player, is if there were actually air creeps. Perhaps something on Twisted Meadows where you can use the Gargoyles to take down those red drakes and dragons on the corner of the map. Could be a very, very strong play here. Meanwhile, you can see that the Gargoyles are still wandering around in the backfield looking for units to harass, but harassment is not nearly as important as it is, say, in StarCraft 2. You do not need nearly as many workers. All you really need is somewhere in the realm of 15 workers, and that is generally more than enough. As you can see, a Wisp almost gets taken out there. The Ancient Protector getting off some easy lobs, trying to take out all of these units here, as the Staff of Preservation sends back a Demon Hunter. He needs to pick up a Orb of Venom to really do much about it, but that's going to be a little bit ways away, as the Tree of Eternity is just now getting started. Death Knight will get to level 3 off of this creep camp. There we go. And apparently the players are, or some of the viewers are already saying that this game is already over. I don't see how it's over yet. You can see that the Death Knight's going to be picking up, yes, a very useful item. Meanwhile, back over here, you can see that there is, why are they attacking that Ancient of Lore? I'm not sure. That's actually a very good question. Why are the archers taking down his own Ancient of War? And I can't believe what I'm seeing. If this Ancient of Lore gets taken out by archers, that would be absolutely hilarious, but no more constant poking there. Demon Hunter now looking to finish off a Troll Trapper. I don't believe he will get to level 3. He might just be a little bit shy, as the Gargoyles are still waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. Demon Hunter is sitting at level 2 still. Meanwhile, Death Knight, now also accompanied by that Lich, who does have an Orb of Corruption, and we can also see a Boneyard in play. Boneyard, Frostworm's a very, very strong unit, but it's not going to be any useful or of any use against these Dryads. We really need to see some Crypt Fiends added to this army. Otherwise, the Dryads are just going to have an absolute field day with this army. You can see an Ogre Mauler now taken down. Replenishment Potion has been left behind and picked up by the Demon Hunter. Naga Sea Witch now sitting at level 2. Could perhaps get off a Fork Lightning or two. There's a Mana Burn. And are we going to perhaps see some easy kills onto the Naga Sea Witch? Naga Sea Witch taking a lot of damage, posting the Lesser Invulnerability, transfer at the last moment. Staff of Preservation saves it, but is the Demon Hunter gonna go? The Demon Hunter does have a Scroll of Town portal, and it looks as though the Demon Hunter is gonna win that foot race just slightly faster, even without Boots of Speed. He is a very, very fast walking hero and able to head back home. Gargoyle is now ready to come in from the bottom side and perhaps take out all of these Wisp here. Meanwhile, the Death Knight is taking this opportunity to creep while his opponent is preoccupied and being forced to return back home. Alright, Gargoyle's there. You can see how much damage is done, and the Gargoyles are just going after units. There goes another Wisp. No, another Wisp does not get taken down. The Gargoyles, even with 1-0 upgrades, unable to finish the job. Alright, 2-0 upgrades should be coming in. Meanwhile, the Death Knight still sitting at 3. Lich still sitting at 1. Needs to get a little bit more mana. And are we going to perhaps see a Slaughterhouse added? No Slaughterhouse as of yet. We are going into a Frostworm from the Boneyard, and a Frostworm should really counteract those bears, but without any Crypt Fiends, I don't believe WarchiefRich is gonna build any bears, and with an army just of Dryads, those Frostworms are not going to do any serious damage whatsoever. Alright, Frostworm off over here. Going to quickly kill some of these units. It doesn't look like it's within range for some odd reason, as the Death Knight going to finish off the rest of this creep camp. Lich, now sitting at level 1, will get to level 2 right there. There we have it. Level 2 Lich, level 1 Frost Nova, most likely, as we are now creeping out these mercenary camps. Alright, Frostworms do have 2-0 upgrades. Lich is in position. Are we going to perhaps see some easy shots there? Kobold Geomancer taking a bit of damage. Perhaps he should be going after something with actually heavy armor, but I don't see any heavy armored units at all, except for a level 1 Kobold, which would pretty much instantly die from one of those zaps anyways. Alright, Frostworm still going after the targets. It looks as though the Renegade Wizard will fall. Meanwhile, back over here, Demon Hunter sitting at level 3, trying to finish off a couple of Murlocs here. Gonna finish off the Tide Runners with no problem, as the Naga Sea Witch with double Circlets of Nobility is getting a bit stronger. Death Knight and Lich now making their way back off to the north. Frostworm still sitting at level, or sitting with 2-0 upgrades. Death Knight sitting at level 3, but could easily get to level 4. Just needs a little bit more, little bit more experience. Lich still sitting at level 2, as we're finally seeing the Dryads perhaps making a bit of a push. The Dryads could deal a lot of damage to these Frostworms, and with no Crypt Fiends in sight, Juan doesn't pretty much have that many options. Juan needs to do something, and let's take a look at this. Lich gets off an easy Frost over here. There is a Frostworm. Death Knight sitting at level 4. Are we going to perhaps see the Gargantuan Sea Turtle taken out? And yes, we could easily see that taken out there. Going after the Huntsman, And now perhaps finishing off the rest of the Nightcrawlers, there is another ensnare as the Death Knight now looks to back off. Let's take a look. Murloc Nightcrawler gonna get taken out once again, and the Dryads are gonna catch this. Oh, that could be a bad move there. Is the Lich gonna be able to pick up the item? I'm not sure what the item was. Did the Death Knight pick it up or did the Lich? And it looks like the Lich picked up Boots of Speed. I believe so. I believe that was the case there. Naga Sea Witch already at 3. The Demon Hunter pretty much going to get to 4 if he reads that Tome of Experience. No reason not to. And I believe he is going to be... Wait, Naga Sea Witch picks up the Tome. Doesn't give level 4. Instead stays at level 3 for the Naga Sea Witch. And I really question that move. It really feels like WarchiefRich is still a little bit behind. Let's take a look at the supply count. 50 over 70 compared to 50 over 70. Both sides sitting at 50 over 70 supply. Now 58 over 70 by Juan, as Juan looking to perhaps do a little bit more creeping. Meanwhile, down over here, Naga Sea Witch sitting at level 3. Demon Hunter sitting at level 4, Potion of Lesser Healing, or Potion of Healing ready to go, and the Dryads are gonna finish this Gargantuan Sea Turtle creep camp. And once this is gone, pretty much all of the creep camps on the map have been crept out. I believe that is going to be all of them there. So what you see is what you get in terms of the heroes, unless we start seeing units fall in front of each other from the other side's armies. Death Knight now being brought over. Let's take a look off over here. The Gargoyles are in position. The Death Knight is now trying to push in, and the Death Knight forces a Scroll of Town portal as a Fork Lightning takes down a Gargoyle well before it was ready. It really ventured forth a little bit too far. A Fork Lightning, some slow poison, and that was the end of that. Alright, Wisp now making the way off to the top right-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, the Death Knight and the Lich with the Frostworm making its way over. Let's take a look. Wisp now coming in as well, perhaps to do a little bit of scouting, as we see the Gargoyles once again back for some action, ready to perhaps take out a handful of Wisp or two. If they're able to take down a Wisp or two, that is still going to force more Wisp to be trained, and Rich is going to be end up being even more supply blocked or resource blocked. You can see that he's sitting on only 200 or 150 lumber, even though he's sitting on 2,000 gold. That is in fact a lot. Meanwhile, Juan is sitting on a lot of lumber and no gold, and he is currently in low upkeep. So 30% difference, a little built-in, a little bit of a built-in catch-up mechanism for the Night Elf player or the player that's behind. They can just sit back and continue to mine gold while sitting on one base, and that's actually a pretty smart move by Rich. Rich could also perhaps try to take up the southern expansion, but he knows that that would really stretch him thin, and in addition to stretching him thin, may get him caught out of position. Alright, the Gargoyles still wandering around. Juan should share some wood with Rich, and Rich should share some gold with Juan. I don't believe they are in the trading mood, though. As you can see, this Frostworm now sitting at level or 3-0 upgrades could in fact take down a lot of these units here in just a moment. That is a lot of Gargoyles. I believe there is one Frostworm in the mix. Yes, one Frostworm in this mix, as we are looking to see if Hippogriffs are going to be turning this game around. Hippogriffs are generally fairly useful at trying to take out Gargoyles, even though Gargoyles do have a very strong melee attack as well. Hippos are greater than Gargoyles, but the number of Gargoyles does definitely make a difference. And here you go. We could be seeing an engagement here in just a moment. Here are the Hippogriffs. There's a Fork Lightning, and there goes one Hippogriff already. All right, Demon Hunter now trapped between a rock and a hard place. Both sides still continuing to fight here. It looks as though the Gargoyles are going after all the units. There's a quick roar, as we are now looking at a low hit point Frostworm quickly getting healed back up, and this Frostworm could in fact deal a lot of damage to more units. Alright, the Gargoyle is trying to get away. It doesn't look like it is a good sign at all, and we are looking at the undead retreating. Juan unable to really really break the mold there and force a win here, as we are looking at the Death Knight still trying to fight and take down a couple of these key heroes here. Death Knight now on the run back. You can see that there is a Frostworm here. The Frostworm now looking to charge back in. 60 to 100 points of damage, or 21 to 33. Let's see what's going to be happening next, as we are now looking at a Dryad getting taken out. Alright, let's continue this fight here. You can see Hippogriffs are constantly being trained, and with them constantly being trained, you can see that Juan is still behind in terms of supply, but he's not in too bad of a shape. Let's take a look. Juan sitting at level 3 on that Lich. Death Knight sitting at level 4. Demon Hunter sitting at 4. Fork Lightning comes in as well onto that Naga Sea Witch who's sitting at 4. And the Death Knight and the Gargoyles are forced to do a bit of retreating. Give me one moment. Alright, coming back to the game. Now let's go ahead and take a look. Back down over here, you can still see the Undead Army now adding an Abomination to this, and also bringing in one lone Obsidian statue. That is going to be very important. There is a Death Coil healing a low hit point Gargoyle, or low hit point unit there, as we're going to quickly see Juan make sure that there isn't an expansion. 4-3 in terms of level against a 4 and a 4 as well. The Death Knight is really close, so is the Demon Hunter in terms of experience, as we now see some Dryads. Alright, the Gargoyles are in the air. The problem is going to be still whether there's going to be any piercing damage. You can see more Gargoyles are still being added. Are we getting some more units? No, we are not. We are at low upkeep on both sides, as the Wisp are getting taken down. Oh, looks like the Wisp could get taken out there. There goes another one there. And did the Death Knight gain enough experience? No, it did not. 12 experience away from getting up to level 5 there, and that could be very important. The Acolyte has come down, has started to haunt that gold mine. Down over here, you can see not very much gold left in either of the gold mines. We have about another minute and a half coming off on that gold mine there, and whoever is able to harvest the total amount of gold, the highest amount of gold, should end up being the winner. You can see WarchiefRich is currently getting up a number of Hippogriffs as well. 51 to 65 damage, compared to the Gargoyles, 64 to 100 damage. Hippogriffs do have slightly more hit points, but with the Death Coil on that Death Knight, and also the Obsidian statue providing Essence of Blight, this may be an uphill battle. So far, the Acolyte has haunted that gold mine. It is underway. Meanwhile, back down over here as well, you can see Juan is just trying to mine off this gold mine, and there is about 90 seconds left of gold. All right, the Hippogriffs are in position. Warchief, Ancient of Wind, now ready to go. That is a lot of air units. Bears are in play as well as the Abomination. What's going to happen? There is a roar, but do we have Obsidian statues? Yes, but we do not have any destroyers for that Devour. That is going to be important, but I don't even think a destroyer would be that useful right now, just because there are so many Hippogriffs. All right, Warchief. Night Elf now just wandering back and forth, trying to hold on and stay even. Meanwhile, that haunted gold mine is about done. You can see that there is one shade keeping track of all of this right now, as the Druid of the Claw is just wandering around on the inside. All right, are we going to see an attack come in here as well? Oh, there is an Ancient of War. That Ancient of War could get taken down very, very quickly, and just 1-2 volleys takes it down. Level 5 now on that Death Knight, and that is an important level. All right, level 5 on the Death Knight. 3 Abominations. Do we have the Disease Cloud? It looks like we do. And with that Disease Cloud, that is going to be damage over time. That damage over time lasts quite a while. 17 seconds left. We can see 64 over 80. Meanwhile, 70 over 70, as more and more bears are being added. Are we going to perhaps walk a Tree of Eternity? Yes, we are. That Tree of Eternity is moving down to the bottom side of the map and is ready to strike here. You can see that the Frostworm could easily try and snipe this Tree of Eternity down while it is uprooted. While it is uprooted, it takes extra damage since it is heavy armored. And here we go. The Tree of Eternity quickly looked like he started to eat a tree, but never really got it or stomach it, as the Lich does come in with a nice Frost Nova there. Not much, as we are now looking at a quick Roar, but the Roar didn't do much either. you can see not very many units can actually attack or are not magic immune. The Tree of Eternity is now back over here, still both sides ready to go. Oh, the Lich is out of position, gonna get caught in a bad way. Wow, that Lich with that Boots of Speed actually wandering over a little bit too quickly, as the Lich now trying to back off again. Lich sitting at level 4 trying to get away. You can see that the Demon Hunter is trying to get in position as well. And yes, the Orb of Venom is going to turn things around there, as there is still more attacking there. Very low hit point Gargoyle does benefit a bit from the Death Coil. Make sure to stay alive once again as we are looking for the attack. All right, is that Tree of Eternity going to start entangling that gold mine? It's still quite a ways away. Oh, that one Druid of the Claw was so out of position. A Frost Nova followed by a Frost Wyrm attack should have been enough to deal damage. Here we go. There is the attack there. And oh, the Demon Hunter taking a lot of damage. Meanwhile, the Gargoyle is getting poked apart very easily. A little game of cat and mouse here. Whoever engages first, as you can see, one archer quickly gets taken down. And oh, the Hippogriff's able to poke that apart there. No, the Dryad's getting the final blow there, as we are still seeing more attacking. All right, there you go. There is a beautiful Frost Nova. There is the Devour magic there. And now, are we going to perhaps see a little bit more Devour magic coming in? The Destroyer does have mana, and that is important, as we see what exactly happened there. I'm trying to figure out how that one Abomination lost so many hit points. Was it perhaps a Death Pack or a Dark Ritual, as a Death Coil hits a long distance unit there? All right, entangling the gold mine. That gold mine pretty much going to get stopped in a moment's notice. Tree of Eternity needs to re-entangle that in just a second. Meanwhile, Acolytes are down over here. Juan is definitely winning out this fight, and if he can finish up this game or perhaps win the War of Attrition here, this could turn things around. You can see that this one Druid of the Claw, oh, are we going to see an attack here? Yes, finally, Staff of Preservation could be coming in. Yes, there it goes. Doesn't teleport very far, though, as the Gargoyles are still attacking back in. So far, that one very low hit point Gargoyle gets Death Coil just in time. Are we going to see an attack there? There goes the bear. Both sides just suffering lots of damage. And who is winning this here? All right, Gargoyles, Hippogriffs, both sides fighting Death Coil. Death Knight sitting at level 5. Demon Hunter sitting at level 5. It looks like the Demon Hunter is very low on hit points. Is it going to fall? It looks as though, yes, the Demon Hunter, no, uses a potion of healing just in time. The Dryads are now fighting back here, as, yes, the Abomination is going to go down as well. There it goes, the Death Knight without any healing. No more mana from those mana burns. Now in a bit of trouble himself. All right, Entangled Goldmine. Looks like it could get taken out here. Meanwhile, we are going to go into an engagement. Back again. Fork Lightning comes down. All right, Juan is a little bit in trouble here. Going to lose another Abomination if he's not careful. And it looks as though, yes, the Abomination down to 2 hit points. There it goes. Hippogriffs now chasing after the Destroyer. And the Death Knight and the Dryads are still just trying to fight it out here. All right, it's now left to the heroes. The Death Knight going after these units one at a time. Is the Death Knight... Oh, uses the potion of lesser invulnerability. Or no, sorry, Scroll Town Portal just in time. The Death Knight able to escape right back here. And now what are we going to have next? All right, more Abominations being added. The Death Knight very low on hit points. Now down over here, you can see not very much aggression by either side here. Supply 43 over 70 compared to 33 over 81, really on the losing end of that fight. And really, those Hippogriffs did a lot more damage than the Gargoyles were able to do. The Gargoyles have better upgrades, but somehow without any Crypt Fiends, all of those Dryads are still pretty much in the plus. The Dryads able to deal so much damage without meat wagons, without Crypt Fiends. Those Dryads are not getting challenged whatsoever, and by not getting challenged, they're free to do so much damage. I wouldn't be surprised if we just saw a large army of Dryads come in for the Night Elf player. Now, what's important to keep track of, though, is that Juan is currently mining, while I do believe the Night Elf player, yes, just has now started mining as well. Mined 300 gold so far, and the Death Knight needs to figure out how to regenerate more hit points. You can see that the Death Knight does regenerate hit points fairly quickly. It should really be on Blight whenever it has the opportunity, as it does increase that regeneration rate on that Death Knight. Up to 620 hit points. He is regenerating about 5 or 6 hit points a second because of the Blight and also that Unholy Aura. Unholy Aura is at level 2. That is very important. The Death Knight, not quite sure why he's even venturing off of that Blight. he should just stay on that blight as long as possible. There is one Nerubian tower up. You can see that the Night Elf army is on its way over. Plus 14 attack with that Orb of Venom, and also that Orb of Venom and the Claws of Attack. And are we going to see an engagement here come down? All right, there is that Nerubian tower getting in some cold damage onto the Dryad. The Dryad actually finally taking a little bit of damage there. Staff of Preservation saves the unit. And are we going to see an engagement here? Oh, low hit point Ghoul ventures forth a little bit too far, as Juan is now in trouble. So far, WarchiefRich going to continue to go after these gargoyles. The gargoyles, Dark Ritual to get some mana back and to deny experience. And this is a 30-minute game so far, and no one has gotten to level 6 on their main heroes. It could be also having to do with the fact that there is not that many red creep camps on the map. I believe the orange ones are in the corner, and that is it. The Dark Ritual still on that Lich. And what would be interesting, if the Lich actually gave frost armor to the gargoyles, that would actually change things around a lot, as the gargoyle would then be able to take on the hippogriffs and also slow down the amount of damage that those hippogriffs are doing. The additional bonus armor plus the fact that the other units would be slowed could be enough of a factor. But with Frost Nova being trained and Dark Ritual being trained, I don't believe Frost Armor was teched at all. Let's see. Back over here, we can see that the hippogriffs are over here back to the top left, still waiting. Meanwhile, Crypt Fiends are coming back over as well. Are the Dryads ready to go? Yes, there is also one Shade keeping track of this army. Level 5 on both sides. Death Knight, slightly higher in terms of experience, but that isn't going to really account for much there, as we can see another Frostworm now trying to be trained. All right, one Obsidian statue off to the north. Are we going to see a little bit of an engagement there? Yes, slow poison onto an Abomination. As the Gargoyle venturing too far, free experience now quickly turned back around. All right, let's take a look at the supply. 54 over 90. I wouldn't even bother getting anywhere above a 50 supply right now. Just hold on to your gold, as right now Rich is taking a little bit of the lead in the gold so far. Let's see, the Death Knight now trying to pull back here. The Dryads are getting in some very easy shots. The Death Knight could easily get off a Death Coil. Is it going to come into play? And the Gargoyle needs to run all the way back over. And let's see what's going to be happening next. That Lich sitting at level 4. That Death Knight sitting at level 5. Are we going to get off another Frost Nova onto the units? And there is a Frost Nova and a 150 point mana burn. That Lich quickly out of mana pretty much, as we see a huge Fork Lightning go down, take down one of those units. All right, Crypt Fiends finally being added. Death Knight unable to get off a Death Coil there. Demon Hunter uses a Scroll of Town portal just in time, as we could see another bear. No, the bear does not go down. Another Fork Lightning. And wow, the Crypt Fiend gets taken out again. Juan, sitting at 45 over 90 supply, is not training up a Frostworm any longer, unless, no, the Frostworm has already joined the ranks. Meanwhile, back over here, WarchiefRich now sitting at 59 over 70 once he got a bit of a buffer and some extra gold. All right, Moonwell's quickly healing back all of those units. Are the bears going to go back into, or the druid's going to, the bear go back into the druid form? We could see some rejuvenation coming in. There's a rejuvenation onto the Druid of the Claw, and now very, very strong. Are we also going into Chimeras? I don't see it, but someone said Chimeras. Where is that roost? I don't. There it is, down over here. So we are going into Chimeras. The Chimeras are going to turn things around drastically with only one destroyer, and everything else being the Obsidian statues being very, very vulnerable to the Chimeras. The Chimeras could really change the landscape very, very quickly. The Lich still sitting at level 4. The Death Knight, not sure. Both players wanting to make sure that they don't lose the game by getting caught out of position. So far, the Demon Hunter has really been the aggressor every time. The Demon Hunter does have that disease cloud on him still, but with the hero passive regeneration, no real damage is being dealt. Chimera is now ready to go. 69 to 117 magic damage per attack. Crypt Fiends on the chase. Is that bear going to be able to get away in time? And here we go. We could have an attack. There you go, a huge volley of attacks onto that Demon Hunter, as the Demon Hunter really getting caught out of position there. All right, in comes the attacks again. Demon Hunter forced to use a Scroll Town portal. Are we going to see? Yes, one Hippogriff down, a second Hippogriff. I do believe it was able to get away in time. Yes, it was at 65 hit points, and now with the rejuvenation, trying to regenerate some more hit points. All right, the Death Knight now wandering in here. Is he going to be able to finish off or perhaps even stop this tree of eternity? WarchiefRich gonna lose this entangled gold mine here, and perhaps a lot of the wisp. That's more important, as the wisps are gonna be very, very difficult to try and retrain. There is an attack after attack, giving experience back over to the Death Knight. The Death Knight's still sitting at level 5, though, as the Obsidian Statue is caught on the wrong side. Oh, this Obsidian Statue is pretty much free experience. Is it going to get taken down? I believe so. Yes, free experience. Juan cannot afford to lose units like that without dealing some bit of damage, and I believe that was a problem there. Juan still looking to come back in and attack. Are we going to perhaps get off another Frost Nova? The Lich is currently sitting at 57 mana, very, very low on mana once again, as the destroyers, the Frost Worms and the Crypt Fiends still wandering around. Was the transition into Crypt Fiends a little bit too late? We can still see a lot of Hippogriffs, but the army of Hippogriffs can't do anything besides take on the air army. That's the problem with them. The Dryads, all right, what's going to be happening here? The Destroyer ventures forth, realizing that there's nothing to attack. Meanwhile, are we going to see some attacks? There is a couple of webs there, as now we are looking at a Death Knight trying to save another Crypt Fiend. This is not looking good. This one Crypt Fiend trying to run all the way back. It looks like it will get taken down. There it goes, as we now see level 6 on the Naga Sea Witch. Monsoon? We could actually see a Monsoon coming in here. I can't believe... I don't know, remember the last time we actually saw Monsoon use Staff of Preservation, saving another Dryad there. There is a Frost Nova, and now the Demon Hunter in a bit of trouble here. Are we going to see more attacking? Yes, we're going to see another turnaround there. There's a couple of webs, as the Hippogriffs are trying to poke apart the units here. The Destroyers, are they going to turn around? The Death Knight does not bother saving any of the units there, as the Frost Worm, and both sides just losing units left and right. Staff of Preservation saving another unit, as the Death Knight may get caught out of position. All right, there is another web. Obsidian Statues are over here. There is one Nerubian Tower, and that is it. The Crypt Fiends are now pretty much all gone. And WarchiefRich, is he going to lose a bear? Yes, he will, but it looks like a Frost Worm will get taken down. Yes, another Frost Worm taken down, and the Death Knight unable to keep up with healing the units because of Superman. Metamorphosis now on the Demon Hunter, and that Demon Hunter pretty much going to do a crazy amount of damage. All right, Hippogriffs trying to finish off the rest of the Destroyers. Meanwhile, mana burn from the Demon Hunter, as the Lich now pretty much out of mana again. The Lich needs to back off. There's a Frost Nova. Are we still going to see an attack? Yes, we are. The Death Knight looks like it will get off a Death Coil onto the Lich. Lich now sitting at level 5. Death Knight now goes down. And that is the GG. Juan loses game 1 in the series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.